Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together, live get-together here on Facebook, where we examine headlines from our city, our state, Jalisco, our country, Mexico, and we take a look at your comments, ideas, questions, suggestions on how we can all have an amazing time here living in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. It is Wednesday, June 16. I'm still navigating without proper internet. We're using my cell phone and my Telcel account, and I can tell already that I'm going to be slowly executed by Telmex because, well, I'll save my woes until the second half of the program. Anyhow, it is a pleasure to get together with you live here on Facebook. And if this is the first time that you're joining us, please let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comment, and we will be so very happy to give you a proper welcome. If you have important things that you wish to share with us, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment. We will be taking a look at all the comments during the second half of the broadcast. And today we have all kinds of important news, some important warnings and reminders. Good news. We have good news. Imagine that. And why not? We have to have a lot of good news. And what else do we have? It could be that Puerto Vallarta has its own sinkhole. And we'll get to that in a moment. And of course, it's Wednesday. We're taking an awesome nature walk in the heart of the city that I bet you haven't explored yet. So let us just dive into everything that we prepared for you and hope for a kick-ass fun broadcast. Yes, let's do that. So the big question is, where are all the folks in their 40s that are supposed to be getting in line for their COVID-19 vaccine? They had their campaign last week, but due to low turnout, the campaign with approximately 15,000 unused vaccines was extended for 3 additional days this week, the last one being today. And authorities don't think that they will even apply 1,000 vaccines by the time the campaign is over. Could it be possible that the census provided inaccurate demographic information for the age group? We don't know. What we do know is that there is still an opportunity to get vaccinated today if you are in your 40s, in your 50s, or in your 60s and beyond for your first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. A second dose for those that have already received the vaccine has not yet been announced. So if you got your first AstraZeneca, it's not like you can just show up and say, well, I'm ready for my second. It is not time yet. Hopefully, it'll be time sometime in the near future. Meanwhile, the current COVID-19 national stoplight is working favorably for Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit as we continue to be in the green zone, as opposed to other tourism destinations in the country, such as Cancun and Los Cabos, where things are not going quite as smoothly. As we reported yesterday, local hotels can now welcome as much as 80% of their total occupancy, and reservations seem to be doing well during these summer months. Just as a reminder, we take a look at the current national stoplight, which is good through the end of this week. States in the orange correspond to those with an uptick in COVID-19 cases, as was recently mentioned by Health Undersecretary Hugo Lopez-Gatell. Again, since we end the validity of the current numbers in the stoplight, we're hoping for an update for the state of Jalisco. Hopefully, we'll get one from our governor this coming Sunday. In other news, the new elevator at City Hall that will allow folks with mobility issues to conduct business on the second floor is almost finished. It's not a formal elevator per se. It looks like just a platform that goes up and down. For many years, in at least 5 municipal administrations, local residents have yearned for such an improvement to be added to the building, and it is nice to see that the project is finally coming to fruition. And this is great news. Moving on to national news, you may recall the tragic accident in Mexico City's subway Line 12 this past May 3rd. At the time, it was announced that an independent panel from Norway would be employed to provide their expert opinion on the cause of the accident. Today, preliminary results released by the government find that there were at least 6 deficiencies in the construction process of the subway line. The technical and scientific analysis is far from complete, and the panel insists that the goal of the study is to identify what caused the accident in the first place in order to prevent something similar from happening again. But between us, this is going to get ugly, because if what they're finding is that it was improperly built to begin with, well, that says a lot about the company or companies that built the subway line. But I don't want to get ahead of the situation. We have to continue waiting to see the complete report from this independent panel. So now let us jump over to the weather just to see how things are looking on this hump day. I like the weather music, by the way, in case you ever wondered. Did you hear about the escaped mental patient on the news yesterday? I actually didn't hear. I don't know if Snarky Carrot Weather is hallucinating this or if something actually happened. If there was an escaped mental patient on the news yesterday and you know about it, please fill us in the comments section. Right now we are at 27 degrees Celsius, feels like 31. Humidity is a high 83%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit is 81 degrees. What can we expect for today? Well, today we can expect a humid and mostly cloudy day with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 25. Tomorrow, Thursday, we will enjoy some rain in the evening and overnight with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 25. And on Friday, it will continue to rain until morning, starting again in the evening with a high temperature of 29 and a low temperature of 23. Ooh, so it cools down ever so slightly as we begin the weekend, and this is always nice to know and nice to read. Moving on with our news, let's see. Yes, with the rain season upon us, local authorities are quick to remind those that frequently drive through Highway 200 towards Mismaloya and points south of the danger of landslides occurring along the highway. One has already taken place right around Boca de Tomatlan, in which no one was injured, fortunately, but one of the 2 highway lanes was blocked. Needless to say, these landslides cannot be predicted, but we will keep our eyes open to the best of our ability in case we learn of any problems along the highway due to summer weather. We know that these mudslides is a cocktail. What are you talking about? Landslides happen, and unfortunately, if you're driving, there can be a lot of delays if you're unfortunate to be caught in the middle of one of these. Last but not least, it seems as though we have our very own sinkhole, albeit a much smaller one. Yesterday morning, a Pepsi truck was doing its business when one of its rear wheels went down a hole in PTL, causing the truck to almost tilt on its side. Apparently, this is not a natural phenomenon, though, as Seapal, the local waterworks, was just working in the area some 15 days previously, and apparently when it came time to repave the street, they didn't compact the soil underneath well enough. Not a very comforting thought, but what can I tell you? Let me show you some of these images because this is our very own Socavon Bonbon. Look at the poor truck. I mean, it just went down a little hole that apparently Seapal created, and it is what it is. Fortunately, apparently nobody was injured here, but it doesn't look very pretty. What I can tell you is that Seapal is working all over the place, and this is a good thing. Yesterday, I found myself in downtown Pitillal, where the main street is completely unpaved in anticipation of a new coat of pavement and expanded sidewalks. The next block over has already been repaved, and it is a great improvement as sidewalks in downtown PTL are beyond narrow. They're just small. So hopefully at least the main street will provide a better opportunity for pedestrians to enjoy exploring this part of town. Meanwhile, if you have any errands to run in PTL and you are driving, please be mindful of this and the increasing traffic in the area. And while we're on the subject of improvements, I promised you an update yesterday on our beloved Francia Street, and I failed to load the photograph. So here it is. As you can see, the pavement has come to Calle Francia, and they're slowly getting it done, and everything seems to indicate that in a matter of a couple of weeks, at least this first block of the street will be finished. They're already constructing and repaving the next 2 or 3 blocks. I know that all the way down to Vienna Street. It is a mess right now, but let us just get excited about how it's going to look when it is completed. And now, I think it's time for us to go for a walk. Several times we've mentioned the monthly. We've mentioned the monthly Riviera Market PV outdoor market that takes place along the Parque Lineal or Linear Park that goes along the PTL River. The market will take place this coming Saturday, so I figured it would be an excellent excuse to go and show you this park, which, as it turns out, is quite unexpected and beautiful this time of year as it starts to rain again. So let's go for a walk. Hello. I am standing right across from the Soriana in Cinépolis Piteyal. I said Piteyal, but I meant Piteyal. Behind me is Woolworths. There are 2 Woolworths in town, this one and the one in El Centro. And I'm standing here because today we are going to explore the Piteyal Linear Park. That's the way it's called. And this is the park that follows the path of the PTL River. And it is a pedestrian walkthrough that is frequently used by athletes and just people that want to have a leisurely stroll around the city. Now, we are outdoors. There are not that many people behind me or in front of me, so I will take some liberties with my face mask. First, a photograph, just to give you a sense as to what this looks like. This park, I try to find a specific date in which this was built. It was sometime around the past decade. Couldn't find specific information. But if memory serves me right, and if you look at the map, this park was going to continue all the way down to Francisco Medina Asensio. So this was going to provide a beautiful walkway that would lead all the way down to the ocean. Several administrations ago. Rita! But it was never completed, or at least it hasn't been completed as such. Ooh, how nice that some of you know. Today the path is used by families, people that are walking, and this happens to be the path along which that monthly outdoor market that I've mentioned a couple of times in the broadcast sets shop. Now, if we take a quick look at the PTL River, you can see it's been raining in the last few days, so you can see there is some water in the stream. And this is nice. Buenas tardes. Ay, qué bonito le salió. Una, dos, tres. No, ya no. Anyhow. Oh, there are goats behind Woolworth. I hear goats. And chicken and rooster. Somebody might be living back there. Anyhow, here we go. This is a gorgeous path. And when you think of it, had this been actually completed to go all the way down to the ocean, it would have been a beautiful thing. Yes, I was happy to see some water in the river as well with that. Oh, the path is completely wheelchair friendly then. We would very much enjoy it. Aha. So this must be private land directly behind Woolworth, because I see a bunch of cages with a bunch of chicken. Let me see if I can take a photograph of this because it's quite cute. Okay. We'll see how that turns out when I get home. There were so many roosters and birds. It was just absolutely wonderful, Sherry. There are some exercise stations here designed for public use. Couldn't tell you how much they're actually used or not, but they are here. Lee, we are going to want your expert opinion on this right after we're done with the walking tour, because I'm not entirely, I was under the impression that the rest of the path was probably not the safest. If you walk it regularly, I'd love to hear your comments. Here we can see another view of the river. As you can see, the city has constructed paths to get in and out of the river to clean it from debris, so that when the heavier rains come, nothing will be damaged. Except for nature itself, as you know. People have commented in the past that the city has gotten a little bit carried away when it comes to doing these cleaning efforts. We've mentioned this in our broadcast, and of course, it's difficult to ascertain who's right or who's wrong without having all the facts. But this is a beautiful path to explore. It's not on my regular route. This is probably the second, maybe third time that I've explored it since it was long. Well, that pissed me off. Hello, everyone. I'm here. I'm sorry that we had an internet meltdown. And yes, we did. So I'm going to just ramble a little bit and hope that some of you will catch up with the fact that we got kicked out or something went wrong. I don't know exactly what went wrong. So I am going to sit here and give it a second to make sure that you're all here. And if all goes well, we're going to continue with this walk. In fact, let me see. There's a few of you here. So let me just go back to the walk, and I'm going to rewind it a little bit just to make sure that we are able to continue doing what we were doing. Hang on just a second. Was designed. somewhere around.
But one of the
here.
big challenges with all these improvements that the city makes is
wait, no.
it comes to doing these cleaning efforts.
There you
We've
go.
mentioned this in our broadcast, and of course, it's difficult to ascertain who's right or who's wrong without having all the facts.
Yes, we stopped right around here, I think.
But this is a beautiful path to explore. It's not on my regular route. This is probably the second, maybe third time that I've explored it since it was launched. Sepal provides drinking water here, apparently. Let us find out if it's working. And of course it is not. There's a sign here. Somebody wrote, "Fix me." So it may have seemed like a good idea when it was designed, but one of the big challenges with all these improvements that the city makes is they seem like good ideas. When it comes to implementing their maintenance, the city falls short. There's some public bathrooms here with a sign that says 5 pesos, but there's nobody to run them. So are they actually used? Who knows? Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
On this opposite side of where the bathrooms are, this may have seemed like a good idea at some point to set up a shop here to sell food and such. And I deduce that because there's all kinds of sitting tables in this part of the park. But nothing seems to be going on, at least not presently. There's a little bit of a breeze and that feels good. And of course everything's turning green because it's been raining, and that is always nice to see. It is also nice to see people just hanging out and sitting, enjoying the outdoors. Would I feel comfortable being here at night? Probably not. Now, for 2 months I've talked about this outdoor market that sets up shop here, and I haven't been to it.
Good.
So how much of this path is used for vendors to set up their things is a mystery to me. I don't know if it's just a few meters or if it's the whole thing, but this would seem like a nice place to set up an outdoor market. And I know it probably sounds as though I am trying to peddle this on you. I have no affiliation with it, but it just sounds like a good idea. Ooh, there are all sorts of treacherous paths running right next to the river. I wonder how many dangers lie down there. I wouldn't want to go take a look. And then there's this viewpoint, and you know we're going to go up there. Let me take a photograph before we climb it first. Aha.
Uh-huh.
Of course we'll go up just to see what the view is like from up there. But let's do it on the way back. Let me first go all the way to the next major intersection so that you can get a sense as to how this park connects to or relates to the rest of the city.
I figured I might as well let the birds do the talking here. It was so beautiful.
As you can see, there are some cars moving ahead, so we approach what might seem like the end of this path. And it is, but it also isn't. You see, we're approaching Avenida Grandes Lagos, which is one of the two main throughways in Fluvial.
Yay. Oh, good. Thank you for that, Lee. And we'll comment on the safety or lack of thereof of the path as soon as we're done.
And here we are at Avenida Grandes Lagos. Right to my left is the Unirse building, one of the municipal buildings where you can take care of many paperwork processes. So here we are, Avenida Grandes Lagos. If we were to continue in that general direction, we would end up where Farmacia Guadalajara is in Fluvial. And of course, going in that general direction, we continue all the way to Pitillal. Now, there is a continuation of this park. Let me take a photograph. The park does continue as a path that hasn't been maintained in any way, shape, or form, or at least not officially. We don't know if the city plans on continuing this paved development over there, but you can walk all the way and reach the ocean. Now, would I recommend continuing walking in that general direction? Probably not. Probably not, unless you are of physical fitness of one kind or another. There is no pavement if you continue, so you could have a perfectly wonderful walk, or you could have a perfectly dangerous walk. So no, I would not advise it. Look at these beautiful flowers. They probably got here with the rain. They're gorgeous.
Okay.
But even though it's really warm outside, I'm really happy that I came out to take a look at this walking path today. If I was coming here, I think it would be very easy to park my vehicle, if I was driving, of course, at the Soriana parking lot, and then just cross the street and come here and exercise, or, you know, if you happen to come when this outdoor market is installed, then you can definitely leave your car there. So now we're going to go up to this structure just to see what kind of view we can get from above. I see some people sitting up there, so hopefully we won't be interrupting their date. And up we go.
And I'm counting steps, which is why I'm silent.
Buenas tardes.
Hola, buenas tardes.
It was a girl date.
And here we are. 74 steps. Whew. Boy, am I out of shape. So let's take some photographs. Just because the camera will do a better job at looking at the surroundings. Okay, so right now I'm pointing my camera at roofs in Fluvial. If I zoom in just a little bit more, you can see a little bit of the roof of La Come. If I point my camera this way, there is Conchas Chinas, very, very far away. This should give you a sense as to how close we are to the ocean. It would probably take about 15-20 minutes if we continued walking in that general direction. And looking this way, I'm not entirely sure of what I'm looking at. Well, I can see a little bit of the continuation of Avenida Grandes Lagos. And if I look at things this way, well, that would be part of Pitillal and related areas. So this is our little exploration, and it's nice to look at the trees from up here simply because the rain has been raining. The rain has been raining. Listen to me. I suppose that's a good way to stop this. And what I'm going to do is wrap things up here. Thank you so very much for joining me. Thank you for keeping up with my walks. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. Take care.
The rain has been raining. You can quote me on that if you'd like. And that was our trumped Wednesday walk. I'll have to splice all those the two sections together before we publish this video. Before we take a look at your comments, once again, apologies. We had a little meltdown halfway through the walk, so I missed all your first half comments. So we'll go with this, and we'll go with what we have here. Secondly, I want to qualify before we get into a big debate. I want to qualify my remarks about the safety of this path. Again, there's petty crime that goes on. These places are not very well policed, and whereas it's very unlikely that something will happen to you when you're walking down the unpaved section, crime does take place. So I'm not saying don't do it. All I'm saying is be careful when you're walking. There are people living on the banks of the river, and there are people that hide there and they commit crimes. I don't mean to scare you. I just mean to ask you to have a little bit of common sense and just be mindful of your surroundings. So let me rewind the comments, at least the ones we're able to look at from this second half. My sister, oh, hello, sister. My sister's still in Dallas visiting my brother. Have fun. Let's see what else. Francisco asks, where in Puerto Vallarta is this park? This park is located along the banks of Pitillal River. When and where is the Saturday market you mentioned? Well, Jason, the market is just down this path that we were just walking on. And if you check out the show notes from yesterday, you will see the organization that organizes a monthly, once a month market that takes place along the path. Again, Lee, I thank you so much for this feedback. And I noticed that Rita also mentioned that she feels perfectly safe walking. I would probably feel safe walking. But then again, if somebody started chasing up, chasing me to rob me. You know, I mean, I'm not in good shape, so I'm not necessarily one who would feel comfortable walking by myself. Although I'm usually carrying a tripod, and I probably would use it as a weapon. Just kidding. Any iguanas around, we are surrounded by them everywhere, everywhere. Lee also reports that he went to the market that we've been talking about. And this is good to hear. Again, I mean, for the past couple of months, I've mentioned it whenever it's coming. And for one reason or another, I have been unable to go. But I think this Saturday, I will definitely go and check it out. Kathleen comments on the sound of the birds. I was overwhelmed by the amount of wildlife that I could hear as I was walking. It was beautiful, beautiful to do that. Let's see what else. Comments on the names of the streets in Fluvial. Yes, all the streets in Fluvial are named after lakes and rivers. Let's see what else we have. Jacobito, my friend Jacobo. Mwah! Beautiful dancer, beautiful inside and out, who used to live here in Puerto Vallarta, now lives in Cancun. It's great to see you. Let's see what else. Heather, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this walk. You know, it's one of those things in which, you know, that park, if you're not in that neighborhood, you have to make a conscious decision to go there and walk it. But for anybody living in Fluvial or nearby Pitillal and so forth and so on, it is a beautiful place to walk through and just enjoy nature. Even in these warm, very warm days, I mean, it was very, very pleasant to do. The city lights would look fantastic at night there. Yes, I totally agree, Joe. Then again, if it's not well lit, I don't know that I would want to be walking that path late at night. But again, I've never walked it. For all I know, it's perfectly well lit and it's perfectly safe. Let's see what else. Several friends frequent this path for early morning bird watching. That's good to know. Is there a site where market locations, days, and hours open? Yes, Lynn, we posted that on the show notes yesterday. There is a Facebook page that you can follow. Again, they have been doing a monthly market, and this has been organized by a group of young Mexican entrepreneurs. I know that they have very specific guidelines as to why and how you can get into the market, and this is something that has been supported by the local government as something designed by and for young entrepreneurs. So I don't know exactly the details, but I will put the Facebook page on the show notes once again so that you can have it. And I think this is a good place to wrap up our broadcast. It was a pleasure to hang out with you, even when we had that little meltdown in the middle of it. And again, as I was telling you before, I'm still going through Telmex woes. I'm going to be making my phone calls right after the broadcast is over so that I can see when they are going to come by and fix my internet access. In the meantime, thank you very much, Joyce. Joyce has put the link to the market on the comments, so you can all click on that if you are in a hurry, or you can wait for the show notes. So that was our walk. I'm sorry that it was truncated. One of the things that I'm going to be doing once my internet is restored is uploading all the independent walks to the website so that you can enjoy it, all the walks with better video quality, and of course without all the comments that we put on the screen. So tomorrow's Thursday. We'll see what happens tomorrow between now and then, or the next time we get together. Stay kind, stay safe, take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, and stay in touch. Have a great day.